All right, so today I'm continuing to work on the ZXI 1100. We've got the power trim motor box up out of the ski. I've ordered a new power trim motor. I got this off of Amazon for this guy. They aren't cheap. It's a brand new trim motor. Most of them were over 200. This one was 130. But it's the lowest cost one I could find. I'm having to replace this broken piece here because this piece is broken and allowing water to come in and fill this box up. In order to get that pulled out, I've got to remove the wires from the plug, which you can see here. Was it Romex connectors or something? I'm just basically going in through the top right here, making the pin release, pulling the wire out. And since the way I'm doing this is bending the pin, I'll have to bend the pin back out so that it can be put back into the connector. It's easy enough to do. You just take your little pointy tool and bend them back out a little bit so they'll go back in. But that was kind of a pain to do and get one of these. These are $10 a piece for those fittings. So got to do that, get the new motor in, test it out. So that's what I'm working on. I'll show you me getting the last pin out. I go in through the top of the connector here, push this in, that gets the locking part out of the way and releases the pin, and they go in that order in this plug. So it's the white, the black, the red, boom, just like that. That'll get that out. I've got to cut this tie wrap, then I can remove the wires and thread the new piece onto here. It takes more time, more so than it's technical. So just little things like that to get the job done. All right, so this piece has a piece broken into it. It didn't want to come out. I'm going to have to use a Dremel tool and cut into the side of this to get it off, it looks like. So just adds more time to the repair. All right, I got that off. And I don't have the capability to build all these wire ends. I don't have replacements for those. This particular boot on this one had individual slots for each of the wires to go through, and then it tightened and made it waterproof. I think this boot on this replacement has a single, it's a single wire, single large hole. So that means I'll have to put silicone sealant in each end around the wires to seal it. But it's basically, you've got a rubber boot, you've got the tightening sleeve. You'll just have to run all the wires through one at a time. Put on the rubber boot and do it that way. So I have to work with what I've got. And I don't have things to build new wires, so we'll go with these. Try to clean them up good because there is corrosion down in these. You can see it. It's easy to clean the male ends. The female ends, I'll have to stick something in there and clean them out. But anyway, slide that on, and then the fun part will be getting all of them through the boot. That's next. There it is, completed. Rubber boot in place, cap in place, ready to go back in. I just need to do a little cleaning, and I'm done with that part. Okay, so there it is installed. I've got to get this bolted down. It's got a little bracket. And there's the old roached out motor. The problem with this design is water gets in the bottom of any jet ski hull, and every one of these, I think, eventually gets water in it and the motor goes ruined. I put a little white lithium grease on that worm gear to help that thing out. And I've got to do a couple of tie wraps and button it back up. All right, let's see what we got. I left it open just in case there's any connections that are loose, but listen. We have a trim motor working and the little nose thingy's working. And I guess it's moving this back here. This was up just a little. So all that does is force that up and down. We have trim. So trim is fixed. Got a brand new motor, got everything lubed up. Let's put the cover on it and bolt it back in. That is replacing a trim motor on a ZXI. They had ZXI 900s, got the same thing in it. But I don't think the 900 came with the automatic trim blue button. All right, I'm gonna show you what I'm doing here. The can on that motor, and the can being the part that sticks out, is slightly too long. So I'm JB welding a cap to give it a little extra space to keep this thing watertight. You can grind and all kind of stuff to JB weld once it's done. That'll be the initial coat. So as I showed you, the motor is working fine. You can actually hear it. You can see the piece moving in the dash. The problem with this motor, this part number, is the can is too long. The can is this part of the motor. If you take the old one and line it up, see how much shorter it is? So you've got a shorter can on this motor. This can being this long didn't allow for the cover to fit on in the bolt holes to line up. So basically had to put a hole in the cover, take a cap off of an oil bottle, and JB weld it on there. Now you have to clean all your surfaces with acetone. First you want to scrape them up with your Dremel tool. After you've got the hole in, scrape them all up good so the JB weld is going to adhere to it. And then basically you're putting a plug on the end of this. It won't be removable, but JB welding that on just to allow for this to fit through that cover. I guess it would be ideal to have a motor that fit properly, but with this older stuff, sometimes you got to make things fit. And that's what I've done here. So I'll go ahead and throw this away. These motors, the thing that makes me sick is I worked for a company that built wiper systems. And these motors don't cost that company about $8 a piece. So that's what it was in the 90s. So I'm sure they're no more than 20 a piece now. And then they sell them to you for hundreds of dollars. There's a huge markup on any automotive parts. 500, 600, 700, 800, 1,000% markup on these parts. All right, fires right up. Seems to be idling quite well. I did the switch off and on, and now I've got trim. There we go. Yeah, now they're working. I had to switch it on and off. Get the tack to work. Okay, I've got everything but fuel. I forgot these will time out. You got to switch them off and on with the orange thing. It works great now. Yes, indeed. Working great, Chad. You just don't have a fuel gauge. Everything else works. Speedometer, tach, trim, it's beauty. It's a beauty. That thing will cut like a dime, man.